Do you know what Social Security looks at when they are figuring your retirement benefit? So, here are a few things. Some things you can control, some things you cannot. But it is important to know what goes into that decision of your Social Security retirement benefit. Now, one of the first things that Social Security looks at when you apply for Social Security retirement is whether or not you are insured for the benefit. So to be insured for a Social Security retirement benefit, you have to have earned the 40 credits, right? So each year you can earn 4 credits, and every year a dollar amount is assigned to what a credit is worth. But as long as at the point of application you have 40 credits, it does not matter where in your lifetime of work you earn those 40 credits. Now, most folks are going to earn those 40 credits with 10 years of work. And at that point, Social Security stops counting credits. Okay, so no one has 80 credits, no one has 120 credits. It's the 40 is the magic number. So once you have your 40 credits, you're insured. The next thing that Social Security is going to be looking at are your earnings. So I'm hoping that everyone already has their My Social Security account set up. That's your online account with Social Security. It's really important that you have that. It provides you with a lot of information. It gives you some control. Once you start receiving the benefits, there are changes that you can make to your record behind that My Social Security account. It also, prior to receiving the benefit, provides you with those estimates of what you can receive in benefits. But it also shows you your earnings. Right. And it's important that you're checking your earnings and making sure those earnings are being reported correctly. All right. Now, when Social Security considers your earnings for your retirement benefit, they are going to be using your highest 35 years of earnings. Now, they need 35 years for their calculation, whether you've worked 35 years in your lifetime or not. But what happens is, let's say you have not worked 35 years. Let's say at the time of application, you'd worked 20 years, which is enough to have those 40 credits, right? So you're insured, but you have 20 years of earnings. They're going to have to factor in 15 zeros to get to the 35 that they need for their calculation. Now, eventually those years of earnings are going to be averaged, and everyone knows what a zero does to an average, right? It brings it down. So you want to make sure each year that you're checking your earnings record, making sure there are not some zeros where there should actually be dollar amounts, or not some lesser amounts where you actually earned more in Social Security taxed earnings. So again, make sure you have that My Social Security account established so you can check those things. But they're going to use your highest 35 years of earnings. They need 35 years, whether you've worked 35 years in your lifetime or not. They are going to average those 35 years, but before averaging those 35, they're going to do what they call an indexing. They are going to give those earlier years earnings a current wage value. So the amount that you earned in 1978 on paper could show you earned, $15,000. But once it's indexed, it could show, and please don't quote me on these numbers. I'm just kind of giving you an idea of how it works. That 15,000 could actually look like 35,000 once it's indexed. Okay. Now there is a publication that Social Security puts out every year. It's called Your Retirement Benefit: How It's Figured, and it gives you all of those indexing factors, because we know there are people out there that want to do this thing manually. So you would take your actual earnings as reflected behind your My Social Security account, multiply it by the indexing factor, and then you'll see what actual number Social Security is going to use when figuring your benefit. So again, first they're checking to make sure you're insured, you have those 40 credits. Then they're looking at your earnings. They need 35 years for the calculation. They need 35 whether you've worked 35 years in your lifetime or not. So you want to make sure you're checking behind your My Social Security account to make sure those earnings are being reported to Social Security correctly, and that they're not some missing earnings, which can impact your benefit amount. Now, let me know in the comments, how often do you check your My Social Security account? Are you checking it yearly? Have you even enrolled in it? Let me know. And I'm going to talk with you guys next week.